I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today our guest is David Mason with StudioNow. We'll come back to talk to David after these messages from our sponsor.
If you want to feel the wind blowing through your hair and see the great city of Nashville at the same time, check out Nashville Scooter Tours. Trekking through the downtown streets to Music Row with Nashville Scooter Tours is safe, eco-friendly, and a whole lot of fun. They use Xenon electric scooters that go 55 miles on a single charge. Find out more by calling 615-290-5563 or book your reservation today at NashvilleScooterTours.com.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial Mind. So David, you're really kind of a tale of two startups from what I've been able to discover about your company. You can tell us a little bit maybe about the early days first and where the opportunity came from and how it evolved in the early stages?
Sure, yeah. So started StudioNow about 6 years ago. And that was your quintessential write out an idea on the back of a napkin and go from there. And so really,
where did the idea come from?
The idea came from my interest in one, starting another business. StudioNow's second or third business that I kind of started as an entrepreneur,
right? And
wanting to find a space and an opportunity as big as the e-commerce space, which was my first business that I started. I started one of the first internet bookstores in 1995. Right. And so I was at a point in my life that I was looking to start another business and started doing a little research and kind of immediately through personal experiences and then just what I was looking into, saw that internet video seemed like it had a lot of fantastic and similar characteristics as e-commerce did in the mid-90s. And so from a growth standpoint, from an adoption standpoint, and from a kind of early stage kind of feel to it, that there weren't any gigantic players and it wasn't a very mature space, so still a lot of room.
It was mostly high quality kind of video too, wasn't it?
Well, not originally. So
okay.
when we started and the initial idea and kind of the personal side, why I gravitated and really liked the idea and the opportunity is that I had my first child, my son, and I was taking a lot of photos, digital photos and video clips, and at the same time looking into the video space to start a business, and kind of one thing led to another. And I was like, well, I've got all this content that I'm creating, and there are all these YouTube, editors and animators and people in the video space, and the user is creating content, and so I'll just take these images and videos and I'll quickly put together a great little video of my family vacation or of my one-year-old birthday party, and it'll be super easy, and put it up like everybody else does. And this one, in this case, was actually for my mother's 60th birthday. The whole family was getting together and was going to make this great video that was supposed to be so easy because everybody else is doing it. And 18 hours later, I have a very mediocre slideshow with some music that isn't even the right music that I wanted in the first place because I couldn't license it or it wouldn't work or what have you. And so I said, there's got to be a better way. And again, with researching and looking at the business opportunity, I said, okay, well, there are experts out there and individuals are creating more content, personal content, but it's really hard to put something together that's of high quality. So why don't you kind of create this network and technology and platform where all of those individuals can kind of meet up, and the people like myself who have content but I don't have the time or the background or the know-how, I can then just upload it and connect with someone who might work at a TV station or an advertising agency but isn't working 24/7 and has downtime, and they might want to get some extra projects. And so that's how really StudioNow, the first kind of iteration of StudioNow, it was.
So you discovered that inefficiency in the market, created the bridge.
That's right. So the area that we hit correctly on was aggregating a network of video professionals. So we were right in the fact that there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of individuals that have gone to film school and have worked at TV stations and at record labels, and do have the skills to edit and to go and film and whatnot. And so we were right in that their workflow and the amount of work they do in their jobs, it's not very consistent, so kind of week on, week off, and so they're available if people can bring them work. They're happy to be part of whatever relationship that is. So we're quickly able to ramp up and just kind of word of mouth, getting videographers and editors to be part of the StudioNow network. We did a good job with the technology to create a platform and workflow for uploading content and storing it, and then allowing people to collaborate and revision management, and then actually encode it and transcode it and put it in the right places. Where we were wrong in terms of the consumer or the customer or the kind of market. So the individuals like myself, while I used it and we had very kind of a decent amount of uptake of individuals for anniversaries and parties and vacations, we just didn't see that scaling.
Yeah, that's not a scalable model, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, some people were like, this is the best thing in the world. You encapsulated my 40 years with my husband, and I would pay $500 for a piece of content like that, and someone else would be like, I'm not even going to pay $9.99 to you to get this done. I can go buy Pirates of the Caribbean, which is, at Target for $6, and that's 10 times, higher quality and entertaining. And
right.
So it was kind of all over the map. So we realized we were going to have to spend tons of money from a marketing, awareness, education standpoint to say, no, this is, you, general population, have been used to, TV ads and TV programs and movies and music videos, and this is a new type of content for the individual, and we just didn't have time or money to go out and try to educate and market to the millions of consumers that we thought would be interested in this
So you made a
service.
pivot, you made a change in the model.
Made a change in the model. What happened is, just kind of out of the blue or word of the mouth, businesses and small businesses started to contact us directly and say, oh, I've got a product and I want a product video, do you do that? Or I'm an up and coming rock star and I haven't been picked up by a label, but I need some kind of promotional video, film. And so we started getting more stuff from the kind of business market than the individual market, and then started to find out about some companies in the IYP space, Internet Yellow Pages, like CitySearch and YellowPages.com, that were starting to actually come up with a video product for small businesses, and they needed a kind of a back-end production partner that could have videographers and a network and hundreds of different markets, and that's what we were starting to establish with our network. And so we then saw, okay, we can go and have one partnership or relationship with a CitySearch, and through their sales force, they give us access to the 20 million small and medium businesses out there. And once all that started to come together, we said, okay, well, maybe we'll come back to the consumer one day, but let's now focus on business.
And that was the point at which AOL
So
attention
yes,
to what you were doing.
yes, because then on that side, started getting customers, started ramping up, the revenue picked up significantly, and we proved the model that we could aggregate all of these video professionals and could create tons and tons of content. So we had significant capacity, and it was all just a matter of growing market and awareness. AOL was extremely interested in StudioNow. We were first working with AOL on a customer basis. They were
right.
going to be a customer of StudioNow to create a lot of content for their various different media properties and sites, and through those conversations, it then moved into the acquisition side of it and possible relationship.
Talk about that a little bit. I mean, did you have, I know from my own experience, there's both excitement and then terror in terms of what that all means and what's going to happen.
Well, fortunately for us, I mean, a little bit of my background, I've been through some mergers and acquisitions, so that wasn't kind of new, that side of business for me. And then also, probably the 12 months leading up to talking with AOL, we were having discussions with other very large media companies and some of the largest tech players out there. So actually, when we started talking to AOL about it, we had kind of received that same type of feedback from 5 or 6 other, multi-billion-dollar public tech media companies, and we were kind of thinking, oh, that's what everybody, says. They like our model. This is something new. The technology's great. The business is taking off. They always talk about, hey, we might want to acquire or invest in you, but we had heard that several times before.
Right. Yeah, you learn to not pay a lot
to
of
downplay,
attention.
yeah.
But this
low
one happened.
expectations.
This one went through.
It did, and primarily AOL at that time, 3 years ago, Tim Armstrong had just come on board to be CEO of the company. AOL really did not have that much going on in the video space. Tim recognized, even before we had met, and he learned about StudioNow, that video was going to be a big component for AOL going forward from a growth standpoint. And so I guess when he heard about StudioNow and understood our capacity, just the resources that we had to create tons of high quality content, that's what got him very interested, and it really came down to the fact that AOL at that time was creating, thousands of articles every single day and getting, billions of impressions on the text, and they monetize that through banner ads. But if you put a video on every single page, then that monetizes at maybe 2x, 3x what a banner ad. So the idea of StudioNow is to say, okay, AOL, we have the uniques coming to the site, we have the content that they want from a traditional article standpoint. If we put video on there, then we'll be able to monetize it at a significantly higher rate.
And you were part of the fold with AOL for about 2 years?
It was 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah. We were part of AOL for 3 years. The first year was all about trying to work with the AOL media and the editorial teams to roll out video and incorporate video in almost every single article, and we ran into some immediate challenges there, just based on the fact that the journalists, the people in that organization, they write and they're bloggers and they know how to communicate in that medium, and don't have much background with video. So when they're asked to put a video on every page, they're kind of starting from square one. So we had some immediate challenges. I led an acquisition of a company called 5 Min that was more of an aggregator of video content and had some technology that automated the placement of video inside articles. And so that eventually actually became the solution of putting video content on a lot of the AOL articles and pages, and not really using StudioNow. Because once we kind of really started to look into it to create original video content, was one, going to be very costly, and two, just the expertise and the background from the traditional journalist. It just was kind of an uphill battle.
And I would see some syncing issues with that too, in terms of their timing of writing and getting that material out, and the time it takes to get video out.
Right.
So
that's right. Yeah. Maybe to write an article, and I'm just kind of throwing out very loose numbers here, but the cost and the time to write an article might equate to $20, $50 for a piece of good video content. You're talking high hundreds to low thousands of dollars.
Right.
And then the time to do that, video, you're talking days, maybe weeks. Articles, I guess, good journalists can crank out, 2 or 3 articles a day.
Yeah. So at some point it became clear inside of this relationship that it probably wasn't working. Is that how that happened?
Not really. So it took 3 years until we were finally independent again, because what was working within AOL is our relationship with the ad sales team.
You still work with AOL today.
That's right. Yeah, AOL is still an investor of the company, and a very good and large customer of ours. So AOL generates revenue by selling ads and working with the world's top largest brands and advertising agencies, and they started to have a need for creating original high-quality video content that was either going to be part of the campaign or was going to be additional content that they needed to tell their story or to interact with their consumers. And so we started partnering up and going in and kind of co-pitching ideas to Saatchi & Saatchi and Toyota and Bank of America in terms of our capabilities, because internet video is kind of one side, the new stars of YouTube, or it's your traditional TV production that tries to migrate and kind of copy and paste a lot of their content, and more and more that's just not working. So with StudioNow's capabilities, we're able to really remove the blinders for the brands and the agencies to allow them to come up with a lot of fun, exciting, really cool concepts to create tons of high quality video content for them. So we started teaming up with AOL ad sales teams and putting in place these really great needle moving campaigns and pieces of content for the brands and agencies, and that really took off.
So what was the final impetus to make this decision to spin back out again?
So we were never part of the ad sales group. We were always in a different group, so we worked very well with them, and we were growing. We grew 3x over the 3 years while we were within the walls of AOL, and so we ended up, we were creating content for a lot of people except for AOL. And when it came down to it, AOL creates content for its consumers, and it sells ads. We did neither of those two things. Now, we create content for advertisers, and we might create content for other media companies, but we weren't doing those two primary things, which is the focus of AOL. And so it was just a kind of fit situation of things are going really well. AOL still believed in the business, but it's not their top priority. And so just talking and working with Tim Armstrong, some other people of our team said, how do we make this work? Because it's actually going really well, but it's just not a perfect fit. So what can we do? And so the overall outcome and a lot of discussion was, okay, well, one, we still want to be a partner with AOL ad sales. Two, StudioNow is a huge success. AOL wants to still own a stake in the company and have a relationship, but we need to go and be able to get outside capital and continue to grow the business. And so that's when we put together the structure that made StudioNow an independent company again.
Very interesting. So after you spun off, kind of how did it feel? Did it feel new again? Did it feel like you were? It was
kind of a breath of fresh air. And then it all comes quickly, kind of crashing down on your shoulders,
wait,
and go like,
we don't have
wow,
that
we got what
bank account.
we got what we asked for, and no, we don't have the legal team, and we don't have the HR team, and we don't have the treasury function, and we don't have the billing systems, and all of the stuff that we'd kind of cobbled together.
You had probably gotten rid of a lot.
We'd gotten rid of a lot of it, and before as a startup, that was minuscule to begin with anyway. So that it took about 3 or 4 months for us to.
Because you had scaled up, so now you couldn't just put the cobbled stuff back in.
No. It had
you needed
quickly, quickly replace some, infrastructure from a multi-billion-dollar company. We had to go and figure out how to do that ourselves.
How long did that take? That process, do you feel like?
I mean,
it took. Still kind of working through some of that?
We're just now coming out of it. So we've kind of untangled ourselves from the financial systems and some of the payment systems and some of the technology side of things. So we're now fully independent currently. But no, it took about 3 months for the dust to settle. And to really understand what we were dealing with, and about another 3 months to kind of fix and change and build.
It's not bad. That's a pretty quick transition, given the size that you guys have grown to. No. I mean, we added some members of the team that came in and helped with that transition. Rob Tanner, who's now our CFO, he came from Gaylord. He'd been at Gaylord for about 10 years, and so I think some of those changes and tweaks in our organization that help speed things up significantly. So what next? Where do you think this will be?
I think we can create a $100 million, top line company. That's our goal. I think the internet video production space for the work we do to create high quality original content for media companies and brands and advertising agencies is $1 billion company. I mean, $1 billion market. And the good news is that money's being spent right now. So we're not having to create a market. We just need to go get more of that market share. And there aren't any companies like StudioNow. So that current, say, $1 billion is being fulfilled by hundreds, if not thousands, of small production companies that have relationships with those agencies or their brands, and it's pretty interesting because that's our network.
And that never changed. That part of the business model never changed.
That's right, and that's part of our network. So are we kind of competing with our suppliers? To a certain extent, yes, but we will make the whole kind of ecosystem significantly more efficient and kind of beneficial to all the players through somewhat kind of consolidation of StudioNow being the main source
right.
For creating the content. So we'll save a lot of money and time for all the individual video production companies, but we're still sending the work back out to them.
David, fascinating story, and appreciate you sharing it with us today.
Well,
thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thanks.